Good morning.
Good morning.
We are so glad that you're here with us today at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Annapolis, where we strive to live bold and compassionate lives. My name is Melanie Keller, and I'm your lay worship leader this morning. I want to take this opportunity to wish all of our fathers and grandfathers and father figures for all of their wonderful, meaningful work, support, all of it. We would not be who we are today without those fathers, grandfathers, and father figures. So let's celebrate them today. We are a people of many races, colors, genders, sexualities, and beliefs. Diversity is sacred. Whoever you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God some of the time, all of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. We are a people of many life's journeys, some broken, some strong, some just hanging on. However you come to us, you are welcome here. Today is a day full of appreciation and grateful hearts as we honor our dear Reverend Anastassia as we share in her final worship service with us. I feel like we have a lot of that going to happen today. As you entered the sanctuary or joined us online, you were given a connection card or link in the chat. Please use it to learn about our activities, share your thoughts with us. If you need a connection card, please raise your hand and the ushers will bring you one. If you are joining us for the first or second time today, thank you for spending your time with us today. If you're new online, please share your name in the chat. We are a radically welcoming people. And now let us turn our hearts and minds to worship. We have Sadie's going to help us light this final chalice. We light our chalice today with words from Everett Howe. Thankful for years of ministerial service to this church, for celebrations of life and death, dedications, weddings, communions, pilgrimages, and gender renamings, for leading worship, grounding our congregation in spiritual practice, helping us to navigate the wonders and stresses of this world, and making sense of the good times and bad. Thank you for being a leader, a comforter, and a friend. We honor and celebrate you for being our minister. And now let us rise as we are willing and able and speak our covenant together. Love is the spirit of our people, and service is our call. To build the beloved community, to seek fuller truths in love, to walk together in peace, to offer aid and affirmation, and to live for one another. This is our covenant.
Please remain standing for opening song. 2, 1.
Good morning, UUCA. What can I say about a person who lovingly and patiently nudged me on my path to conquering my fears? Reverend Anastassia, your thoughtful, loving counsel gave me space to find the answers on my own. I know that you can't be all things to all people, but for me, you embody heartfelt and genuine care for others. We weren't seeking a spiritual home when we found UUCA. We believed we had everything we needed to live productive, full lives. We came to a meeting of the Citizens Climate Action Network being held at the church. Upon entering the building, I had a visceral reaction. A sense of calm and peace came over me. Immediately, I felt at home, and I told my husband we had to come back the next day for Sunday service. I wanted to know if what I felt was real and sustained. You were radically welcoming, and we became members 4 months later. This is the first spiritual experience where I've been offered so many opportunities to be involved in activities that expand my knowledge and my involvement in the world around me. Activities that are interesting, meaningful, relevant, and fun. I don't know about you, but Reverend Anastassia asked me to do something it's really hard to say no. And the reason is, I had a sense that the request would somehow be beneficial to me. And Reverend Anastassia seemed to intuit this before I had that realization. It's uncanny. But that's how it went with Wellspring, the Soul of Aging, and my role as lay worship leader. My involvement in Wellspring in August of 2022 was pivotal for me. COVID had taken a toll on me emotionally and physically. I lacked confidence. I felt broken. A key component of the Wellspring series, is identifying a spiritual practice and doing it. Exercise is not really a problem for me. Consistency is. I would stick to something long enough to say I'd done it. I've run 2 marathons and 3 half marathons, and then I'd stop, sometimes for years. I selected Calinetics as a fitness program created by Callan Pinckney as my spiritual practice. I had used this program on and off for over 30 years, mostly off. For the first 2 months, I did it every day, then 4 times a week, and now at least twice a week. My physical and emotional strength continue to build. I've learned that although the exercise routine is painful, the more I leaned in, the easier it got. So it is with life. As I built confidence that I could be consistent in caring for myself, I felt stronger about sharing my pain. I am forever grateful to Reverend Anastassia for creating a space of love, understanding, and acceptance where I could unburden something that had lurked in my background all my life. I just let it go, just like that. Wellspring was immediately followed by Soul of Aging, where I continued to pursue and share my truth. I met my husband at Toastmasters, where I had joined to practice speaking in public. As lay worship leader, I had to lean into my discomfort with speaking in front of large groups. As I get to know you better, it becomes easier because you're family. Because of those little nudges, I realize I can now live my life in truth. I'm no longer that shadowy person with secrets. I can speak truth in love because I finally wholeheartedly love me, every part of me. Reverend Anastassia, thank you for guiding and encouraging me along the way, and for allowing me to grow and stretch in my own time, at my own pace. What can I say? I can say thank you. I will always cherish our connection, and as you follow your path, I wish you abundant joy on your journey.
Do you want to do that one? Okay.
Let's see if it works. Does it work?
We good? Okay. You're going to get a neck ache. When Reverend Anastassia preached her first sermon to us after announcing that she was leaving us, she took us back to her arrival here just a few months after COVID had shut us down. We were doing virtual services and patting ourselves on the back that we'd figured out how to have meaningful worship, even if we were all here only in Hollywood Squares. Reverend Anastassia commented that we got to know her through that process, but she really wasn't able to get to know us. So she did what anyone would do in that predicament. She arranged for a group of us to walk 70 miles on a 1,000-year-old path through northwest Spain. During that time, she asked each of us to tell her, in all critical detail, our stories of how we met our partners. And through that, we learned something about Reverend Anastassia, that she didn't just want to know our names and one or two fun facts about each of us, for that was the start of the conversation. She wanted to know us deeply. She wanted to know what made our hearts beat and our lives meaningful. She leaves that legacy to us, the curiosity and love to know each other beyond the superficial to our core selves. The next thing Reverend Anastassia leaves to us is the energy to look forward. When we came out of COVID, a little shell-shocked, happy that we'd done okay, but wondering what church would be now, she said, let's get going, and started getting people to participate in groups and committees that she thought would be good for our next phase of church. Today, this place is hopping. She leaves that legacy to us too, the drive to look through the telescope towards a better place and the vision to get us there. Perhaps we have left Reverend Anastassia with a few legacy gifts too. Certainly our love. Maybe our determination. After all, we got this building project done despite a stack of infrastructure problems and all the economic fallout of a global pandemic. And maybe our trust. Trust that this liberal religion is worth a lifetime of work, her life's work, and our support of her journey through it.
Wait a minute, Jamie. This is all very nice stuff you're saying, and I agree with it, but I heard we were supposed to talk about money.
I thought you were done talking about money.
Very funny. But really, I'm not going to ask people for money. I just mean that Reverend Anastassia has helped our church get to be in a much better financial place. And that's important because it means we can do the things that matter so much to us.
Okay, go on.
Well, a couple of things. First, Reverend Anastassia looked at our year-round pledging system. You remember, when each of us had a different pledge month, boy, was that confusing for folks working on finance. Anastassia had a vision that we could do it better. She especially knew that we needed to have a single concentrated time in the year when we focused together on funding our church. Actually, we finance geeks knew that too, but fixing it seemed to be a very daunting job. And we were afraid of going back to the bad old days before year-round pledging, when the pledge drive was an overwhelming job that fell on a tiny band of volunteers. But Anastassia knew that it could be done and had a vision of how we could get there. So she gently prodded and cajoled and recruited leaders and brought in a consultant, and together the church made it happen. And now there is a doable system in place that works. And now it's even actually kind of fun to work on the pledge drive. That was a huge, important change. But Anastassia saw that we needed a change in our fiscal year to match our church year and to match the UUA's fiscal year. We'd been reluctant to do that too. It seemed like too big of a project. But Anastassia trusted it could be done, and so she gently prodded and cajoled. And today, while our finances are still really complex, our financial planning is much easier. And something else. When we talk about raising and spending money, Anastassia has a way of explaining why it's important and connecting that to our values. For example, in our most recent budget conversations, she helped us understand that the UUA's new salary guidelines, which are expensive for us to implement, that these guidelines are in service of economic justice because they get us to pay equally for similar work rather than paying less for work that has traditionally been women's work. Her ability to connect our money with our values has been a great gift to us as we seek to be good and effective stewards of the dollars we all donate to our church. So to sum up my little spiel about money, Reverend Anastassia is leaving us in a much better place, and we are grateful.
Amen to that. Every morning in Spain, as we hit the trail, we'd share with each other the blessing of a good road for the day, one with just enough ups and downs, delightful discoveries, spiritual nourishment, personal connection, and laughter. Reverend Anastassia, we wish that for you as you leave us today. Buen camino.
Indulge me while I speak these words directly to Reverend Anastassia. Reverend AZ, you came into my world chosen by the community, of which I am a part, to be sure, according to a set of criteria, and to be minister of equal standing. I didn't know then that you would be my teacher, my spiritual guide, my mentor, and most importantly, my friend. Together we have walked a camino of spirituality, of thought, and of friendship that will remain with me always. I took your class on writing a sermon. From you I learned that the best writing, perhaps one's best thoughts, start with the tiniest spark, 200 words to encapsulate an idea, to captivate your reader, and those few words lead to the examination and development of life's journeys, which can have meaning for many. And you practice what you preach. I have heard you bare yourself to vulnerable with stories from your past, and I want you to know that my journey is enlightened by your vulnerable one. I took your class on the soul of aging and the wellness series, and from these I gained a deeper understanding of spirituality and my relationship to spirit. Aging is not to be feared, but rather celebrated as wisdom and understanding, and the inevitable unknown is simply the next adventure. The depth of wellness, exploring our unique heritage, sharing deeply and personally, setting intention, and developing a daily spiritual practice has been infinitely meaningful to me. We walked the Camino de Santiago. Oh, I know, I got COVID and couldn't walk much. I don't mean we walked step by step together on the trail. I mean the conception of the idea, the training and preparation for the way were steps that came from your endorsement. Getting to know my brother and sister peregrinos, the daily walking, the nightly lessons, dinner and sangria, the sharing of the congregation with the congregation when we returned was all pure joy and facilitated by you. Walking the Camino is a metaphor for moving spiritually through life. I hope to do it again someday, and you will walk with me in my heart. You gave me Star Island when I needed a retreat to fill my soul with UU spirit. Now, Star is a magical place, off the coast of New Hampshire and Maine, which is part summer camp, part retreat, part social network, and is fully a place to renew one's Unitarianism with like-minded souls. You shared your beautiful family at Star, and I was privileged to see you as mom, wife, daughter-in-law, and that too I cherish. Dale and I loved Star. We loved doing worship with you. We are so grateful you shared that precious place, and we will be back this summer with grateful appreciation. So together, we have walked many caminos, through potentially life-changing illness, mine, through joys and uncertainties, when I questioned my decisions and my place with others within our community. Your calm guidance and thoughtful observations brought these to my spiritual practice for deep contemplation. And so, that brings me to my daily practice, an altar which holds my intentions. Now, Buddha oversees my altar, which includes candlelight to remind me of the hope of our chalice, flowers for nature, honey for nurture, incense for spirit, and a way to set intention for deep contemplation. I wish you the same, and so I have given you these things for your altar, hoping that as you visit your daily practice, you will be lifted by the voice of wisdom and friendship as I have, and that you will think of me now and then. Buen camino.
I have an urgent memo here with the church's logo. And this memo is to call your attention to several urgent matters of importance. The issue is that I have sad emotions due to your departure. And I want to say something to you before you depart. First, thank you for sharing your time, talent, and treasure with this congregation and with me. I remember when you first visited during candidating week, how you came to my home and we talked for 3 hours, but you suggested that we go for a walk. And on our walk, going somewhere in my neighborhood that I didn't even recognize, we decided to go on a path that I had not walked, that you had not walked. And we ended up on a big hill looking over somebody's neighborhood. And together on that hill, we envisioned a Unitarian Universalism that was expansive. We envisioned possibilities for our faith. And it was clear to me that we shared the same vision for our faith. And it was in that moment that I knew you were the right person to partner with. Second, I want to draw your attention to what you mean to me. No matter how hard things got, you always affirmed me and lifted me up when I was down. You always said the right things to me when you knew I needed to hear them. And that is a gift. Keep doing that. It does more than you know to help people. I will miss how we laughed together. We laughed a lot. We talked endlessly about what is best for this congregation, building a beloved community. I will miss that. And we cried together when trying to deal with difficult conflict and figuring out a difficult situation that, of course, arise in ministry. But in the end of all of those hard discussions, we always agreed toward a path forward, even when perhaps it wasn't what others expected. And I appreciate your integrity, your loyalty, and your calm and centered presence. You know, we had to learn how to be ministers of equal standing. This is not a model utilized in our faith very often, but we made it work. And we as a congregation can celebrate that. We are a success. And as a result of this hard work that we've done together, I am a better man. I am a better husband. I'm a better minister. Thank you. I hope you feel the same, that you are a better woman, a better partner, a better minister. Lastly, I want to draw your attention to what you have meant to this congregation. You are full of ideas. And I have to say, sometimes when you said, oh, I would say, uh-oh. But they were always good ideas. You brought many new things to us. You deepened us spiritually. You made us more generous, as Carrie and Jamie said, financially and otherwise. You helped us to grow our membership with some of those new ideas that helped us to clarify and articulate our vision and mission. You injected a spirit of service and volunteerism, the likes I haven't seen before in this congregation. You brought us sacred rituals and made us more worshipful and reverent. You are a wise soul. And that wisdom has been infectious. You always remind me that our children are important and help to center them more and more, including our Peace Center to my left. We are a stronger, more compassionate congregation because of you. Thank you. And finally, Reverend A.Z., thank you for your kindness, unwavering support, kindred spirit, and gentle love. You will always be a part of this church's history. You are a special part of my life, and I can't fully capture that in words. So from my heart, thank you for everything you've done for me, for this community. Keep climbing those hills, walking those paths that few have traveled, not knowing what's over the hill. Keep doing that. And I'll see you later. I know where you live. I know where your church is. I look forward to many years of our collegial friendship. And before you applaud, I want to give you a gift that is important to me because you remember this, right? 2012 General Assembly, the ministers, me, Fred, Reverend Christine, and Reverend Anastassia, who was our intern back then, Marty Day made these stoles for us because we led worship before 4,000 people at General Assembly. I did the sermon, but Anastassia was part of that worship service. We all wore these stoles and looked good up there, matching colors. And so I said prayers over this stole. I would let it sit in this room and just gather the energy in this room. And so I wanted to place this stole on you. And when you wear this, remember us. Just let the power and the energy of this moment and this stole gather you, give you energy and strength when you need it. You are loved. I love you. Bless you.
My dear ones, for you are. A few of you will know these little hearts because when people would come to my office for pastoral care or advice, or because there was some struggle or hope that they would have, at the end, I would offer them this little vessel where all these glass hearts were. I picked them up on an adventure I had with my husband. And we'd put them in someone's hand and we would pray so they could take those prayers and intentions with them and remember them when they would see this heart. I'd also give them to my friends who were really helpful in the church when they would do something useful on Sunday, to just remind them that they were seen and thanked for their contribution. I want to pray into these hearts right now. May this be a community that knows love, that holds on to its deepening spirituality, recognizing that faith and practice are here to make our hearts more compassionate, our minds more wise, and to widen our vision, for alone we cannot see the full scope of any one world. May we carry the love and commitment to this place with us always on the tablets of our heart. And may we offer love and kindness to one another, for love and kindness will always help us be in covenant. And we're going to do this ritual now because I say that love, that actually the greatest blessing I know is in our capacity to give to one another. So the ushers are going to come forward and they're going to hand you some hearts. And if you're on the aisle, you're going to be handed a group of hearts. You're going to keep one for yourself, but you're going to hand the remaining ones, passing them down, and you're going to look into the person's eyes next to you and say, may you have kindness, may you have love, may you have peace, as you pass it down, to recognize that you have this capacity to give blessings to one another, as you have surely blessed me and I have blessed you. And if you're joining us online, I want you to take a moment to turn on your camera, if you're not, and to hold up a heart and offer your love to one another. You might even want to look at a specific person as you do this, or write in the chat as well, may you know love, may you know kindness. May you pass it along, remembering the love that you know in your heart.
So now's the time in our service where we take out our connection card. Today, we don't have a connection question, but we just want to hear whatever you want to share with us. Also, if you're new, please share your name and information so we can stay connected. And you can give your physical card to the ushers during the offering, or use the link in the chat for those on Zoom. And if you're a first-timer, wow, what a service, first of all. But our membership coordinator, Laura Schrank, will send you a small gift. At UUCA, we give half our offering to a special cause of the month. Our Share the Plate this month is Charting Careers, a nonprofit in Annapolis inspiring youth to discover their power and reach their goals through transformative mentoring, life-enriching opportunities, and family partnership, and by serving as champions for equity. You can pay.
Mic drop.
Charge. For those of you who are not familiar, when a minister is installed in a congregation, part of the ritual is a charge made to the minister. It's a way to help focus the ministry. During Reverend Anastassia's installation 4 years ago, UUCA Herman de la Fuente charged Anastassia to fully embrace her new responsibility as a minister of equal standing with Reverend John. And as Reverend John just said, they both grew in so many ways, and it helped us grow as people and as a congregation. And I'll sure miss seeing the two of you together. Reverend Anastassia is now leaving us. Actually, some folks view going to All Souls as a promotion of sorts, but it's certainly, that's not the way she views it at all. Although she's had a long-standing love for All Souls, I know she does not see it that way. It's the continued evolution of her ministry. It is fitting for someone from our congregation, as part of our decommissioning service today, not to charge her for All Souls, but to charge her for her future lifelong ministry. So what would I say to charge Reverend Anastassia going forward in her ministry? First, a memory. John, when Reverend Fred Muir charged Reverend John at his installation so many years ago, he reminded us that churches are almost always going to be out of balance with pushes and pulls in every direction. But Fred said, hang on to who you are. Hang on to who you are. Plant the field using your ministry to help your congregation grow. Now, we all know that ministers preach on many topics, but there's often a core that ties together so much of their ministry. That center is who they are at the very core. Anastassia, I believe that center for you is love and compassion. With all of our pushes and pulls here, you've helped us to strengthen our love for one another and the wider world. And in the process, we gained a more honest love of our own imperfect selves. Your spiritual practices have all been anchored in love in all of its dimensions, as is our UU faith. Reverend Anastassia, with all the pushes and pulls you'll encounter in the future, keep a deep keel. Hang on to who you are. Continue to plant your field with love and compassion. So my charge to you is really very simple. Be yourself. As Reverend Christina told us many times from this pulpit, you are enough. You are enough. Your deep sense of purpose and capacity to grow will help your future congregants make their world a better place. You've done so here, and I know that you will do so going forward. Safe travels, friend.
Good morning. Today, I am honored to have been asked to write a charge for the congregation as we move forward in this transition. Reverend Fred gave the charge to the congregation upon the installation of Reverend Anastassia and the blossoming of co-ministers of equal standing with Reverend John. Filling Fred's size shoes is a big responsibility. So rather than charge us with something completely new, I chose to lean into what he asked of us through my own lens at UUCA as a congregant. Reverend Fred called on us to create a, quote, fear-free zone by means of a fierce revolutionary love shaped by the joy of resistance. Just an average request for average people, right? These words sound aspirational and perhaps even feel a little untenable in the scary, violent, and busy world we live in. Can we experience a fear-free life filled with revolutionary love and joy while knowing our families, our communities, and our global kin are constantly trying to dig out of the rubble of oppression? I believe our congregation is equipped and ready to live into a fear-free zone. Many of us have made a journey back to church from religious trauma or significant life changes. We've already been brave and bold. Coming to these doors hoping to be accepted, held, valued, and loved for who you are. We've already acknowledged that fearful part, allowed its fear, and did it anyway. That's step one. Step two for a fear-free zone, practice. This church is the place where we should be able to make mistakes. If we can put aside our fear of embarrassment and failure, our friends and peers will both support us and hold us accountable to become the best version of ourselves. Every time we ask for more from one another, it's honoring our own needs and desires, our friendship in this community, because accountability is not a punishment, it is radical love and investment in one another. Let's practice being brave and embracing conflict. Let's practice letting go of fear of disappointing one another because it's inevitable. Let's remember that change and transition are growth opportunities. Trust that we will figure this out together. Disappointments, conflicts, and change included. The second charge Reverend Fred asked for us was to live into the eighth principle with revolutionary love and approach this long-term generational journey with deep gratitude. Revolutionary means involving or causing a complete or dramatic change. How do we create a space where each of us can grow into the more whole version of ourselves and not only avoid harming our Black, brown, gay, trans, and other oppressed friends, but create a space where everyone has the opportunity for transformation and growth? I don't have the answers to that yet. However, what is revolutionary is that this community is trying to figure that out. Each of us is trying to create a container where our individual experiences come together in a collective wellspring, a building of a community of communities. In Braiding Sweetgrass, Kimmerer reminds us, quote, "We are only as strong as the diversity around us." This isn't corporate jargon. It is literally how permaculture heals the world. Biomimicry is learning from and then emulating nature's forms, processes, and ecosystems. Perhaps revolutionary love is being in true reciprocity with one another and open to change as the environment changes. Perhaps revolutionary love is not always needing to understand everyone, but assume they're vital to our ecosystem. And perhaps we can live into revolutionary love by simply committing to truly knowing one another and being grateful for our collective garden. Finally, Reverend Fred called on us to embrace the joy of resistance. This one I know. I love being resistant. You can ask my husband, he'll tell you. Fred originally quoted E.B. White and reminded us it is a false dichotomy that the desire to enjoy the world is at odds with the drive to improve it. The beauty of living into our principles is that we know that the interconnectedness of which we are all a part, that when I heal, you have space to heal. When I regulate, it helps others regulate. And when you experience joy, I also experience joy, which is why we come to worship together. Every time we say a purposeful no to something, that we resist something, we give room to say yes to something else. When we resist, we make room and time for something new to be imagined. Trisha Hersey, author of Restless Resistance, a Manifesto, reminds us that there was no path to freedom from enslavement. Hersey said, quote, "People think imagination is just frivolous, that it's a thing of children and you're daydreaming and you're wasting time. And so that's the resistance I pull into. They want us to always be locked up and focused on work, focused on production, and focused on labor. But to be able to imagine and wander, that's where the ideas for liberation come." Today, my call to you echoes Fred's sentiments and asks you to lean into tangible actions. Practice being brave. Commit to getting to know someone new and cultivate that friendship. Seek out diversity in your plants and in your relationships. Remember to have fun and do not dismiss the wisdom of children's play. As we let Reverend Anastassia go and embrace the unknown, let us assure her that though we can't see where the road leads just yet, the bravery, vision, leadership, and revolutionary love this congregation holds will continue. I believe the seed she planted here will continue to mature, and we will see the fruits of these labors blossom beyond our imaginations. With the right conditions, anything can grow. May it be so.
It is now time for us to formally release Reverend Anastassia from called ministry to, with, and among us here at UUCA. In our free churches, there is perhaps no bond more sacred than the bond between a minister and the congregation that has chosen her to serve them. This is because a minister's power and authority come not from on high, but from the hearts and minds of those who they serve. An installation service, which we held during the pandemic, is a way of recognizing the beginning of that relationship. So it is only right and fitting that we have a ceremony to recognize its ending.
You have offered me your free pulpit, an opportunity to shape meaning together, rooted in spiritual practice. And so I offer you back this gift in the form of sage. May you discover wisdom together, and may it bring you connection, vision, and joy.
Please join me in saying, we release you from this ministry.
You have welcomed me into the tender moments of your lives, those moments when you've crashed willingly or unwillingly across a threshold, helping me accompany you, offering care and encouragement. And so I return this ministry to your able hearts by giving you an aloe plant. May you discover healing together.
Please join me in saying, we release you from this ministry.
You have called me to be a prophetic leader, helping you discover a prophetic imagination of a better world, yet unexperienced. And so I return this ministry to your able beings in the form of a jalapeno. May you be hot and spicy when it comes to liberation and justice.
We release you from this ministry.
And you called for me to just be a minister, to witness who you are, to be by your side, and to literally spend time with you. And so I return this ministry that you know the person by your side, the person you see on your screen, the person you have yet to discover is your true best friend, is maybe the gift in your life waiting for you to discover it. So I return this to you, this time together. May you know it as a joy and as an awakening.
We release you from this ministry and the covenant that bound you to us.
Thank you so much for calling me and releasing me into Unitarian Universalist ministry.
On behalf of the congregation, I'd like to present you with some gifts.
Sure. I like the pride colors. Ooh. Thank you, it's this mug. And everyone got the memo that I love the new artwork. Thank you. Oh, there's one more. Oh. Thank you so much for this journal. And thank you for the many, many gifts that you and this congregation have given me.
As we conclude our service today, we want to offer Reverend Anastassia blessings inspired by our Native American and pagan brothers and sisters. This is a four-directional blessing and prayer. We begin in the east towards the rising sun. The element of the east is air. It is the direction of inspiration associated with learning and intellectual curiosity. Great Spirit of the East, as I lay my hands on Reverend Anastassia, we give thanks for the new learnings that she has brought to our community. May the Spirit of the East bring her all the gifts of a new day dawning, a fresh start on the journey, full of inspiration and curiosity.
We now move towards the south, whose element is fire. Fire being the transformative force that warms us and cycles us through periods of hibernation and action. Spirit of the South, as I lay my hands on Reverend Anastassia, we give thanks for her fire, for the warmth and comfort she has brought our congregation. May the forces of the South always bring warm breezes towards her back, urging her on towards the action she is destined to take.
As the wheel turns, we move to the west. The west is marked by the beauty of sunsets as each day draws to a close. Great Spirit of the West, as I lay my hands on Reverend Anastassia, we acknowledge that there can be great beauty in endings. Each sunset is a glorious masterpiece of color that reminds us that all things eventually fade. May the essence of the West remind her that this is no time to be sad, but rather to enjoy the colorful tapestry that we have woven together during her ministry with us.
And to the north we now turn, to the element of the earth. The earth represents the place that grounds us, that allows us time and space to grow and heal, to feel nurtured and respected. Spirit of the North, as I lay hands on Reverend Anastassia, we give thanks for deep wisdom she has brought to our congregation, stability and strength. May the Spirit of the North remind her that she will always have roots here. She will always have a home with us.
Now I invite us all to raise our hands and usher in the spirit of the sky above and the earth below. We are deeply grateful for the many blessings you have brought our congregation, for the things said today and those still silent in our hearts. We are grateful for your presence during our own journeys and for the gifts you have shared with us. We celebrate the turning of your own wheel into a new season of life and wish you blessings from every direction as you continue on your path. Together, let us say, may it be so. May it be so.
And if Sadie can help me to extinguish the chalice as we honor and celebrate our fathers and our beloved Reverend Anastassia. We extinguish our chalice today with words from Cynthia Landrum. We leave this gathered community, but we do not leave our connection our concerns, our care for one another, our service to each other, to the world, and to our faith continues until we are all together again, friends. Be strong, be well, be true, be loving. Please join us in the atrium for the appreciation reception and receiving line, and please turn and meet someone that you don't know. Thank you.